Is this the best balance patch ever? Is it really the best balance patch ever? I guess we will have to see, guys, because it is Friday, last Friday of the month. It is time for our balance announcement preview. Now, be aware, a lot of changes are probably in this. Not a single one of them will happen until after Guild Wars is over. The Guild Wars, until after RTA season is over. So don't go changing all your stuff to get ready for this, because it will not go into effect until after RTA season is over. But let's jump in and check it out. Here is today the balance patch announcement, and it doesn't go live until the 12th. Okay, RTA season ends here on the 6th. So go ahead and theory craft and get stuff ready in Fribbles, but don't build thinking you're going to be able to use these changes because they ain't happening until after RTA is over. Let's do something a little different this time, guys. Let's not just look at the Collie's legs, I mean balance announcement. Let's make a tier list and see who's the winner, and we'll all decide in chat. We'll all decide where these units go on a tier list. Okay, so balance patch winners. Are you down? Can you dig? All right, guys. Let's see what we got. Balance adjustment preview. We sincerely appreciate the interest and support of all of our heirs who have continued their adventures in Epic 7. This is an advance notice regarding the 15 heroes. Great googly moogly, that's a lot of heroes. And 2 artifacts scheduled for a regular balance adjustment following the update on 3/12 after RTA season is over, including changes to their effects and memory imprints. Oh, they're messing with memory imprints. Interesting. So we have got top model Luluca, who desperately needs it, guys. We got Lone Crescent Bellona, hell yeah, do it for the redhead, Smilegate. Charlotte, another redhead, why not? Tori. Rabino, Kise, interesting. Kise is a dangerous unit to buff. Diene, who I guess needed a buff for reasons. This is blue Diene, not Shepherd of the Dark. Lethe, interesting. I like playing some Lethe. Oh, Birgitta. There it is, guys. She who needed it the most. Hopefully they do her right. Could knock me over with a feather right now. I would have said there's no way they will ever adjust Zeno because there's no money in it for them. Why would they ever buff a unit who's free? You can pick this guy up with your Hall of Trials points for free at any point in time once you earn enough currency. Green Vildred. Nice to see we're doing a little something for the cleavers. Arowell might be back. Unbound Knight Arowell, of course, and Righteous Thief Roozid, the pupper, the bestest boy. What a good boy. Yes, you are. Yes, you're a balanced buffed unit now. We're buffing the artifact Assassin's Pledge. That's Robin's artifact, and Tyrant's Descent. That's Kane's artifact, which looks like it'd be really good in PvE and just isn't. We are changing the effects. We're changing crit damage buff, escort, bleed, burn, and curse. Wonder how we're changing those, effects. Neil Van Sant, thank you so much for the sub, buddy. I appreciate you, buddy. And we're changing the imprint system. I'm very curious to see what they're going to do to dual attack. Crit chance, I bet you money they're just getting rid of the decimal points that everybody freaking hates. Interesting. And how are they handling flat boosts, which is predominantly just 3-star units? Okay, let's go and see. Cooldowns will not be changed unless stated. Skill descriptions mentioned in every preview will differ from the actual. Yeah, okay, once again, guys, they're putting in their CYA statement. Things can change. If you think something doesn't go far enough, or you think something goes too far, send the feedback. Make the stove posts. We've seen them. Walk back or walk up changes before. Your voice matters, and they actually do listen. Now, just because they listen doesn't mean they're going to act on what you say, but make your voice heard if you aren't happy with some of this stuff. Let's jump into our first hero, guys. We're talking about Top Model Luluca. Top Model Luluca used to grant a barrier proportional to level for 3 turns, which was an interesting mechanic back in the day. They're getting rid of the barrier and just changing it to an increased combat readiness of all allies by 20%. Okay, you know what? We'll take it. Also, hang on, I should have looked at the Awakened first. So grants barrier proportional and attack to all allies except caster. So now, again, no more barrier, but we get the 20% push, and she's going to be doing increased speed to the caster for 2 turns, which is huge. One of the biggest issues is her speed. It's hard to build her fast enough to run her without really making her hit like a wet noodle. So the speed boost is kind of nice. Grants an extra turn is still there. Taking away her survivability for increased speed and to let her bridge, let her be a good bridge unit. So let's see, Demolish, we're increasing the combat rate all up to 20%. Okay, so the the barrier, which is now proportional to attack instead of proportional to level, is being moved to her S3 to Demolish. And the CR push that was part of her S3 is being moved to her S2, giving you the option to maybe not S3 if you need to save it and still be able to bridge your entire team. Penetrates the target's defense. Okay, wait, so when the caster's speed is at least twice that of the target's defense by 50%, and damage is proportional to speed. It's now penetrates the defense by 50, still same. Okay, so penetrates the defense by 50, whether or not your speed is twice that of the target, she gets 50% pen. So that's going to hit a lot harder. And when the speed is greater than the speed of the target, the penetration rate increases proportional to the difference up to a maximum of 100%. So one could assume that when her speed is double the target's, it will be 100% pen. One could assume. And mind you, she gets a speed buff off the S2, which is an immediate 30% increase. So your 300 speed Luluca is now 390 speed. So make sure you calculate that into how much faster than the target she needs to be to get that penetration. Now, we won't know until the numbers are out, but I think it's a safe bet to say it's probably going to be inked over that twice will get you the 100% pen. 100% pen on a unit that can crit is insane. That will erase pretty much anything from the game. Damage dealt decreased, well, duh. Get over it. People are going to cry about this. Oh, but they nerfed her damage. 100% pen is a million times more valuable than damage increases and decreases. Usually when they say damage decrease, it's rarely more than 20%. It's usually around like 5 to 10%. It's not that big of a deal compared to what you can do with 50 to 100% pen. The skill is going to hit so much harder. And if you soul burn, skill cooldowns are decreased by 2 turns. What is her turn down rate? How fast is that going to let this girl cycle? Damn. So you soul burn it. She goes down to 3 turns, 2 1 turns. It's going to let her basically S3 every other turn. That is wild. I like that they're turning into a bridge. They're making her useful as an aggro or even an opener unit to bridge units. I like that they increased her damage. They are making her a bit of a glass cannon because an attack-based barrier is not going to be as strong as a level-based barrier, but I think this is good. I think people who are already Luluca players are going to play her even more, and the penetration is going to let her work into modern defenses. You want to remove a Bossarunka, the S3 will remove the Bossarunka. It's going to work into pretty much everything that doesn't have a serious amount of pen res on it. So, where do you guys think we should put top model Luluca? I think this change is a solid A tier change for her. It gives her the damage and the speed and the skill cooldowns to actually be a functional cycling unit and to move your team up. Maybe I'm overselling her a little bit, but I think if I'm right about how that penetration works, I think she's going to execute people. Solid A tier unit, guys. Let me see. Lone Crescent Bellona. Here we go, guys. I'm just gonna move her. I'm going to be hopeful, right? We're going to be hopeful. Lone Crescent Bellona, where are we at? So before, she granted immunity for 1 turn when she used Delicate Crescent, and Soul Burn increased damage dealt. Now, attacks the enemy, absorbing some of the damage as health, and inflicts injuries. So we're making Lone Crescent Bellona a damage-dealing unit, and we're giving her some built-in self-sustain, where she absorbs some of the damage. And if you soul burn, the damage dealt increased, which is anytime you see this combined with this, it typically means if you burn S1, it's a damn near a full heal. So, and you can do injuries up to 20% with a burn. This is kind of crazy, right? One of the biggest issues with Lone Crescent, well, not one of the many issues with Lone Crescent Bellona is that she had no built-in self-sustain. So you had to run her on lifesteal, which made her crap, or you had to run her on a healing artifact, which limited her versatility. So this allows you to run her on a Destro set with some other nuking artifact, or on a counter set where her counters are going to allow her to heal and inflict injury. Guys, I think counter Bellona may be back. Yeah, I think counter Bellona is going to be a thing. Waxing Crescent attacks the enemy, increasing the attack caster by 10%, stacks up to 5 times. We're just going to say for each surviving ally, she's got 60% evasion, guys, because remember, it's not an ally of Bellona, it's an ally of you, the player. And Bellona is an ally of you, the player. So if you have 4 people on the team, that's 15% times 4. So she's going to have 60% base evasion as long as everybody on your team is alive. Now, unfortunately, I don't believe there are any warrior evasion artifacts. You've got to decide if a 30% chance to counter constantly is better than a riposte set, which is what, a 75% chance to counter half of the time. I think counter set's mathematically still going to be better, but you could riposte her out. It just depends if you're going to run her with anybody else like Fat Cat or Setsuka, who's going to boost her evasion, right? Warrior evasion artifact equals Setsuka. Yes, equip her with Setsuka. Okay, we're getting rid of her attack stacking though, right? And increases the combat risk by 20% is going away. We're changing it to inflicting 15% injuries. And oh, no, you know, it's 20% is not going away. It's just being buffed to 30%. She's going to cycle way faster, which again is going to let you run her closer to base speed on a counter set build, and her damage is increasing, again making it easier to drop those injuries. Waxing Crescent's pretty good. Quixotic Crescent, after granting vigor to the caster for 3 turns, after granting vigor, before granting vigor, she would attack the enemies before doing vigor. Now she's going to attack the enemies after. So she's going to get the benefit of vigor when she attacks. Grants immunity to the caster for 2 turns. Okay, so we're not going to be able to grant vigor to everybody. We're taking that away. Before, when she killed somebody, vigor would go to all allies except the caster. Now it's only ever going to be for her, but it's a 3-turn vigor instead of a 2-turn one, and grants immunity to her. So this became much more selfish, but much more practical. 2-turn immunity and a 3-turn vigor. This is strong for slow players. Oh my God, Sue's gonna love this. People who like to play slow, evasion, counter units, she's going to be really good. This is a really nice turn two style. All of her damages are going up, so you can build her slower, bulkier. One of the bigger issues with Bellona is keeping her alive, balancing the I need a lot of attack to a lot of HP. And that's always kind of tough on a unit that, you know, it feels like she requires every single stat, and it made her harder to build. Now that you can go counter set on her, you can have a wider variety of artifacts on her, and the damage increasing means you can drop your attack and damage down a little bit and start stacking health to stay alive longer and make her a sustain unit. Increased on the S1 and S2, but decreased on the S3. But you know what? It's decreased on the S3, but that's going to still be more damage because she will have vigor before her S3 goes off, whereas before she did not have vigor. And I bet you the boost you get from vigor is better than the loss you get from damage decrease. she's going to be a staple unit for turn 2 players. This is a very, very good change for her. The sustain is still contingent on her countering. You're still relying on a counter set to keep her alive. If you decide to take her off of Lifesteal or take her off of artifacts like Sigurd's Scythe, you're relying on your counters to be able to heal you. And you're going to need a lot of them. So I am not so sure her survivability is going to be that great, although the 60% evasion is wild. God, I hate fighting evasion heroes. You know what? I'm going to leave her right where she is. She is not going to be my style of character. Not going to be my style of character, but for people that want to play turn 2, I think she's going to be a staple unit, and I think I'm going to leave her right there in S tier. Hear me out. Monarch and Bellona in front could actually legitimately be good. All right, guys. Lone Crescent Bellona getting a buff she deserves. Redhead is back. Speaking of redheads, fire Charlotte. Dual swords. Dual swords is her A1, her S1 skill, right? God, I haven't looked at Charlotte in a minute. Yeah, dual swords is her S1 skill. So she's going to build her fighting spirit faster. So you're going to be able to gale winds even faster. We lose the 50% chance to inflict attack down, and we replace it with increasing combat. Oh my God. So another counter hero. Holy shit, guys. Every time she counters with her S1, she's going to CR push by 25%. That's an insane... She just has to counter 2 to 3 times to take a turn every single round. I know you're like, hey, Tristen, 4 is 100%. She's got speed, guys. She's going to be able to move on her own. 2 to 3 times, and she's going to take a turn. When the skill is used, if it was not triggered by a dual attack, and the caster has a buff, dual sword changes to an all... attacks all enemy, and the amount of fighting spirit is doubled. If she is wearing a buff and it's not a dual attack, it's an AoE attack. This is broken as hell. One of the worst things that ever happened to Epic 7. The point in time where we kind of jumped the horse and competitive shit started going downhill and everything just became an arms race was when they introduced Seaside Bellona and they said AoE counters is now a thing. AoE counters should never have existed, and it's a hill I will die on, that AoE counters are the worst thing that's ever happened to this game. But here we are, and we're doubling down on it. Now, Charlotte not only CR pushes on a counter, but now her counters are going to be AoE, and it's going to acquire 50 fighting spirit, which means all you have to do is counter twice, and your Gale Wind is charged up. Holy shit. This is the most insane buff to an S1 skill I think I've ever seen. This is wild. Will of the Swamp, this is her passive. So, after being attacked, gains 20 fighting spirit, going away, increases attack and defense, going away, and when it's the caster's turn, double fighting spirit, okay, going away. At the start of the battle and at the end of the turn, grants a barrier proportional attack. You know, why not? We'll make her a counter, AoE counter spamming machine, and we're going to increase her attack at the, or give her a barrier to make her tankier. When the caster has a buff and attacks and attacking, increases the damage dealt by 50%. And when attacked, holy shit. We're going to need a whole ass new tier for Charlotte. She's got 50% damage mitigation. She's got 50% damage increase, not attack increase, damage increase. She is basically wearing 5 torrent sets for free. As long as she has a buff. 5, get that down, right? 5 torrent sets. And has a barrier to go along with her damage reduction. Mother of God. Okay, Vortex. This is her Gale Wind skill. Penetrates the defense. Okay, we aren't taking anything away from it. We're just adding on. We are reducing the damage from it, but we are penetrating the target's penetrating the defense of the target with the highest defense. Hey guys, you don't like Bossarunka? You tired of Bossarunka? meet Bossarunka's biggest killer. Yes. Yes. People want to hide squishies behind Bossarunka. You will just murder the squishies behind Bossarunka. 2 counters later, you've got enough fighting spirit to be able to use your Gale Winds, which will hit everybody and murder Bossarunka. It doesn't say how much it penetrates. You know what that means? It means it's 100% penetration. Again, another unit with 100% pen that can crit. Charlotte just became the most important unit in the game for anybody who sees Bossarunka locked in early. I think the days of Bossarunka being drafted early are pretty freaking low. This is absolutely insane, guys. Wow. And don't let this damage dealt decrease thing trip you up, guys. 100% penetration. Do the math on it. Think about when Watcher Shuri pulls that S3 and crits. We're talking that level of damage. Mother of God. And with the damage mitt and the barrier, you can build her a little bit glass, I think. So a very, very strong counter pick into Cleaves. People talking about how Cleave is still too strong. Well, this is a really nice unit into that. Another counter set unit, another unit where you're relying on countering, but yeah, this is game-breakingly strong. I am putting, in fact, everyone else slides down a notch just to make room for Charlotte at the top. There's no world where I can put anybody else in the same tier with Charlotte right now. That buff is insane. Oh yeah, and of course exclusive equipment have to change. So hey, you know what's better than just having 5 torrent sets on? Use this exclusive equipment, and now when you counter, you effectively have 6 torrent sets on, because you're going to add another 10% increased damage to the 50% increased damage she gets organically when she has a buff. You guys had better bring a stripper with buff block onto your team, or you are going to be the queen of the swamps, bitch. That's all I gotta say. What's the other EE do, as if there's a better one? Absorb some of the damage dealt health when using dual swords. Or, hear me out, you can say 50% damage is enough. I don't need that extra 10%. And now we're just gonna have her self-heal when she counters. Oh my God. Oh my God. Hang on. Okay, I feel better about it now. Yeah, I think you definitely go with the lifesteal one if you're playing turn 2. You go with the damage one if you're going to be cleaving with her. Man, this is the kind of thing that might bring Skull screaming back to the game. He is #1 Charlotte fan. Let's go. Wow. So they just said forget small incremental balances. We hear you guys don't like Bossarunka. Now there is no more Bossarunka. She with a forehead as wide as the Dragon Valley is the answer. Okay, guys. Tori. Cascade's cooldown is 1 turn now instead of 2 turns. Grants increased hit chance to the caster for 3 turns. Are you tired of Setsuka? Is Setsuka messing with you guys? You want to kill Setsukas? How about a unit that can just murder Setsukas with increased hit chance? Increased hit chance means plus 50%. You know who else this also murders? Lone Crescent Bellona. So close, Smilegate. So close to making redheads impactful. And then you had bunny girls come along and murder my redheads. So yeah, Tori can't die to Setsuka because of the passive, and yeah, this is a really good answer to it. It's not just Setsuka, but anybody who's stacked with evasion. And based on what we're seeing from Bellona, it looks like they're going to lean heavily into the evasion thing. I really hope they aren't planning on bringing out an evasion set, but it feels like we might be heading down that road, guys. This is a really good answer to anybody who's deciding to hide behind evasion. People that are running Fetska and Monarch, and you feel like you have to fight one or the other. Tori gives you a pretty good answer. Take out the Setskas. It's just a counter pick. It's good. I'm going to put her down here because it's kind of a niche, unique tool, but it's a tool we all need. Nobody likes fighting evasion right now, and that's a good way to get rid of it. Rabino, say hello to my little friends, is being changed from a soul burn is now 10 souls instead of 20 souls. And at the end of the turn, detonates, bleed, and burn effect. So that's all we're doing is just reducing the skill cooldown from 20 to 10. I'm sorry, is reducing the cost to burn. Right now, I'm going to say that this one is kind of a nothing burger. I don't think her ability to soul burn has really been an issue, but maybe her artifact is being changed, and also they're also changing the way it burns. That might impact our decision here. So I'm going to put a pin in it right now because just from this, I'm not feeling it. But we know other things might be coming based on what we know is coming. Kise, removing the soul burn off of Full Moon Scythe and moving it onto Dark Scar. Increases damage dealt from the burn and just also increases damage dealt. It's going to make her hit harder, but you still have to weave her into a draft. I think Kise is a very, very strong unit for aggro, but that's about it. We're going to be making her hit a lot freaking harder, and we're moving the soul burn onto the appropriate skill. I'm kind of on the fence about this one. I don't think Kise had trouble doing damage, but maybe this is going to make her enough of a damage deal. She'll be more draftable. Is it just me, or is this kind of a nothing of a change right now? Let me know if you think I'm wrong on this. I think more damage is great, but it's just more damage for a unit that already did damage. I think it just makes her more accessible. You think it's an OP change, Divine? Oh, I see what you're saying. We're boosting up the damage so that she can use things like Summer Photogenic and be able to ignore the damage share or ignore mitigation artifacts, so that she can actually start using lower end artifacts, not be reliant on damage artifacts. I don't know. I still think it's nice. I think it's going to make her better, and maybe some people will be able to use that couldn't use her before. Diene, who needs a change because of reasons, I guess. So Goddess's Blessing of the Goddess, we're just adding a 15% combat readiness. Okay. More CR pushing, lovely. Saint's Prayer. Instead of granting it, we're getting rid of the crit hit resistance, lovely, and we're changing it to increased defense for 3 turns. Makes her nastier to run with defense scalers. Getting rid of the crit resistance is weird, but boosting the defense could be nice for defense scalers. And again, getting rid of the crit hit resistance. Oh wait, this is just the awakened version. God, we're changing her from a Gemini to a Taurus. Can anybody tell me what that means? I suck at this. What does changing her from a Gemini to a Taurus mean? Taurus is Ahmed and scales it, so she's going to be zooming freaking fast. 117 base speed. Oh my god. Okay, so Diene is now a bridge unit. A bridge unit who is especially good at protecting defense scalers. More speed, less HP and defense. Okay. So you are going to be able to run an opener Diene. I wonder if she will replace Ahmed. What's her exclusive equipment change to? Dispels 2 debuff. Okay, so initially we grant a barrier. We're getting rid of the barrier, dispelling 2 debuffs from all allies when using Blessing God. So we cleanse and push up. Okay, less of an opener with this one and more of a reactionary hero, a go second hero. Recovers the health of all allies proportional to the target's max health when using Saint's Prayer. Kind of an unusual one with a Zodiac change that reduce. Oh, targets max health. Targets max health. So again, not dependent on DN having health. You can build DN just speed. Okay, so we're getting rid of this. We're moving to the S2. Nope. You know what? I guess this is really playstyle dependent. If you plan to run slow, but I think if you're just running aggro, this is a really good one. It's going to let you solve debuff issues, like say for example Zeo S3ing somebody. Of course, if Zeo S3s her, she's just going to be silenced. I don't know, guys. Is this really that big of a deal? Is this really better than Ahmed? Yeah, Zeo's still going to do Zeo things. It won't proc Moon Bunny. He's right, you know. Ahmed can't push the team without proccing Moon Bunny. DN can push the team 15%. Ahmed pushes 25%, but this is still a 15% push that doesn't proc Moon Bunny. It's a good solid tool for cleavers and aggro. The speed is kind of crazy on her, and we know how strong Ahmed is, and the biggest issue with Ahmed right now is Moon Bunny is a problem, so, and this gives you a way around it. I'm going to stick her in the A tier, guys. I think for people that want to play aggressive and want to have options to be able to push their team and work around some of the issues. I mean, anytime we introduce a 127 speed Soul Weaver with a CR push, I think it's fine. I think it's strong. So yeah, I think I'm comfortable with that for right now. Lethe, we're increasing the damage that Call of the Abyss does, so you're more likely to nuke when you drag them under the sea. She's just going to straight up get 10% health. And we're removing cannot be activated by counterattack, dual attack, or extra attack. That's huge. Oh wait, damage decrease. God damn it. The increase decrease. I got increase decrease dyslexia, guys. Okay, so we decreasing damage on our S1, which nobody really cared about, but it makes sense because we're removing the prohibition on dual attack, counter attack, extra attack, right? Yeah, it's the green. The green's what messes with me. So now she can counter, and counter can impact omens. She can omen with Monarch. She can omen on counter set. She can omen with dual attacking. And increases her health, making her dragging you to the bottom of the sea hit even harder. That's kind of wild, guys. This gives Lethe some crazy interactions. And decreased buff durations by 1 turn is now decreased buff durations by 2 turns. Lovely. Ignores effect resistance of any target with a max health lower than the caster's. You love that ER is just not a real stat in this game. I love that ER is just not a real stat in this game. And God, she's getting plus, for those of you with a maximum imprint, she's getting plus 31% health. Plus 31% health. Eat your heart out, Dark Corvus. Also one of the fastest warriors in the game that has a free soul burn. So if you want to activate your DN through Abellion, you can use Lethe. You wanna God, can you imagine stacking DN, Lethe, and Monarch on the same team? I think this is insane. I think people are probably going to look at this and be like, it's kind of meh. I think this is going to be one of the most impactful units next season out there. I think this is wildly strong. I'm just straight up saying it. I think this is better than Bellona and Diene. I think this is crazy strong. This right here, this one little sentence right here, the number of interactions and plays you can put into this are insane. How fast she's going to build up omens he's gonna be dragging people to SeaWorld all the damn time. Too good, too good. Okay, Birgitta, please, please, please be good. Please be good. One of the best looking units in the game. We are granting swift attack. Swift attack basically means when the person takes a turn, they immediately get a 50% CR push. So they're going to get the 50% CR push, take a turn, get another 50% CR push. And we're lowering the cooldown on her Big Bang. I really think they thought maybe Ruiz is going to make this unit real. Maybe Ruiz is going to make this unit super, super good now. And you're going to have to convince me. This is a thinking man's unit, and I think she's going to be tough to weave in. I don't think it's going to do enough. I don't think just giving swift attack to one unit is going to change how she's used. Birgitta, patch winner, you'll have to show it to me, man, because I am not seeing it. Zeno. Okay, Zeno didn't get a patch, a buff. Zeno got his entire kit reworked. So basically, his entire kit's gone. Poof. Brand spanking new unit. Holy crap. So I'm not even going to bother what they took away because they took it all away. Let's just see what this brand new unit named Zeo now is. This brand new unit named Zeo. Blackthorn, his A1, his S1 skill. You can tell I've been playing Raid too much. A1s. His S1 skill attacks the enemy with thorns, inflicting frostbite. So we got another frostbite hero. And damage dealt increases proportional to his defense. And if you soul burn, you get an extra turn. 20 souls for the burn. So you can inflict frostbite and you do damage based on his defense. So defense scalar. He better give himself defense. Star's armor. Star's armor decreases the enemy's evasion by 50%. Man, we hate Setska. We hate Setska big time. We also seem to hate Bellona too, don't we? Everything that they did for Bellona 10 minutes ago, they've taken away from her, it seems. At the start of the turn, when an enemy is inflicted with frostbite, grants rage and increases the defense of the caster for 2 turns. So as soon as you S1, you're going to inflict frostbite, assuming you don't get 15%ed. When you do that, the passive is going to grant you rage and defense buff, which is what he needs for his defense scaling to really be good. Damage dealt increase portion of this. When the caster is granted rage. Oh man, don't you love how they just said we don't really need effectiveness in this game anymore? Everything ignores ER. Wow. C Polly's best friend, I mean, can be, but he grants it to himself. I mean, he's gonna have to. Here's the rub, right? You've got a Soulburn S1 to inflict frostbite and actually have it stick. Then once it sticks, then he gets rage, and then he gets increased defense, and then you can start doing stuff that ignores ER. But if you can get somebody who can drop rage early, then you can just slap a defense buffed damage booster. It's just if it's stripped, you'll be able to put it right back on. So the turn orders are a little weird on here, not be so self-sufficient, but he's going to work really well with units that grant rage, like C Poly. His big S3 summons an ancient beast to attack all enemies, dispels 2 debuffs before inflicting rupture, another rupture unit, guys, and cannot be buffed. There's your buff block. For 2 turns, damage dealt increases proportional to the caster's defense. When the caster is granted rage, once again, ignores ER. Even if your C Poly, even if your rage buffer gets you still have the ability to give yourself rage with a soul burn and then go straight into the S3 and not worry about ER. It's just you're going to have to pick a person. You're going to want a little bit of effectiveness on them, right? 50, 60 effectiveness, just enough to make sure that you can ping the weakest ER unit on the enemy team, get that frostbite on them, then you can drop your S3 with the ignore ER. You don't need a lot of effectiveness on him, but I think you're going to need a little bit of effectiveness on him to just make sure you've got the ability to give yourself rage, because his entire kit is contingent on sticking that frostbite.
TristenWulf, I have heard it is time for you to eat your whole hat. THX Zeno Baka.
God damn it, I did say I would eat my hat if they buff Zeno, didn't I? Lucky thing I got an extra hat. All right. We'll do that another stream. I had a big lunch. Oh, so where are we putting Zeno? I mean, this is very interesting. I will need to see his numbers, right? Damage based on defense, damage dealt increase proportional. They ripped his whole kit apart, so we don't know his mods yet. If his damage is high enough, if he's not just here as a frostbite and rupture bot, letting the rest of the team carry, but he's actually does significant damage, he'll be incredibly good. If he doesn't really do any damage at all, he's just here to survive and be a rupture and shoot a rupture and frostbite bot. Kind of mid though, so I'm gonna tentatively put him in the B tier, but he could easily be C or D tier depending on those mods. In fact, I'm gonna put him down here because he really is a wait and see. We've got to see what his mods look like. Yeah, it all depends on his numbers. Vildred, show me what we're doing with Mr. Cleave here. Okay, so when an enemy is defeated by sweep or blade ascent, grants increased attack to the caster and activates dancing blades is going away, and now it's just after an ally attacks when the enemy's health is 50% or less, activates dancing blades. Yo, so Stray's S3s drop somebody health all the way up, but doesn't quite kill them. Dancing blades comes in and murders them. Holy smokes. That's wild. Dancing blades attacks all enemies and increases the combat rate caster by 20%. So he gets to go up and take a turn. Damage dealt increase force cast speed. Yay! When will this buff activate? March 12th, 1 week after RTA is over, if that's your big question. So a speed imprint unit is going to be able to come in and clean up for cleaves. Yeah, he is now the most important cleave assist unit out there. Damage dealt's being decreased a little bit, but that is compensated by the fact that he's not the one activating it. Literally, the cleave damage dealer is activating. Absolutely wild. Every bit of S tier if you're a cleaver. Even if you're not a cleaver, even if you're just aggro, if you play aggressively, this is the most damn important unit on the team. Stellar change. Oh wait, his exclusive equipment. What? But wait, there's more. Okay, in line with this adjustment, so increases combat rates by additional 5% when using dancing blades. So instead of a 20% push, you'll get a 25% push, letting you build them slow. That's really, really nice. Number 2, resets skill cooldowns when defeating an enemy with blade ascent. If it was with Dancing Blade, this would be insane, but Blade Ascent is his S3 skill, and that means, yes, his skill cooldowns reset, but then he's got to go all the way around again. Where this would be nice is it'll reset the skill cooldown of Dancing Blade as well, so if somebody else comes along and does damage, he will activate Dancing Blade again and finish things off, but is shit not already dead? You've dropped a monster nuke damage that kills or almost kills everybody, effectively activating Dancing Blade, which finishes off what's left except for maybe 1 or 2 stragglers, and then he CR pushes up and does his S3. What's really left alive that you need to reset your skills? I don't think this one's that good. And the third one increases the critical hit damage of the caster for 2 turns before the skill effect when using Blade Ascent. So this just means, let's go with the original example, right? You S3 strays, stuff's left alive, Dancing Blade activates, finishes a lot of things off, 20% CR push, 25% CR push, or 25? 20% CR push up, takes a turn. Before he takes a turn, now he gets a Destro buff, a crit damage buff. And remember, this is a buff, so you won't, if you're going to use this one, 300 crit damage is all you can do. Otherwise, this goes away and it caps out. But yeah, we got to wait and see. Like, buffs have changed, or crit damage changed, so we got to check that. Maybe they remove the cap. I don't know. This could be really good for the cleanup Vildred, right? If you want his S3 to be even harder, I'm still liking this one because it lets you run him slower. And being able to run him slower means buffing up his damage. Pretty good. I think it could be the number 1 or the number 3. It just depends what team you're using him in. I still stand by that this is an S tier change for Mr. Vildred. Very, very good. Whew. What else we got? We're going to skip Arowell, go straight to Unbound Knight Arowell, because ain't none of you running Arowell. Come on. Unbound Knight Arowell. So, Escort. Just doubling the amount of combat readiness. So she's going to cycle faster. And Judgment of Light. No, I'm weirded out by the Awakened having less verbiage. I gotta see what's different here. Before granting increased defense to all allies. Before granting a barrier and increased defense to all allies. Okay, looks like they forgot to highlight part of this right here. It's like, I think all of this here should have been highlighted green. So, so now she gives a defense buff and a barrier to all allies. Less selfish. And her runes are, we're doubling the amount of health she recovers. We're getting rid of increased effect resistance, because effect resistance is a fake skill. And at the start of the battle, it has a 100% chance to increase proportional to the max health. Increases ER proportional to max health. What's the ratio? And now we're going to give a barrier to all allies instead of just to light elemental allies. So she's got a built-in prot set. Don't run her in protection set anymore, guys, because they'll overlap, right? The protection set, they won't stack, they'll overlap. Hey, Crace Zero, thank you for the sub, man. Thank you much, buddy. I appreciate you. Arowell looking quite good. A built-in prot set. The ER thing, I'm very curious how this scales. More survivable, more spamming barriers and defense buffs. Faster CR pushing. This is really good. In a world of so many super strong knights, how usable is this really, though? I'm going to put this in the it doesn't do shit tier until I see what the changes to Escort are. I'm gonna see what the changes to Escort do before I marry myself to this one. Okay, guys? Roozid, skipping. Righteous Thief Roozid. Okay, guys, it's time for the best boy. What are we doing for the pupper? We're just making Hemorrhage hit harder. Great. Because everybody was building a DPS Roozid. And we have a 75% chance to inflict attack down instead of a 50%. We're increasing the damage, and if you burn, you increase the damage. But we're increasing the cooldown on Wind Slash. Okay. How are we making Pupper the best boy? Okay, so we're getting rid of grants the caster continuous healing for 2 turns through the power of the moon, and just replace just straight up extra turn. So you drop your Awu from your Awuzid, you get a 3-turn increased speed, go into an extra turn, and then you can, I guess, attack down Okay. Get a little more speed. We're changing him from Gemini to Leo. Are we making him do some actual damage now? Is that the goal here? We're actually trying to turn him into a damage dealer, because this looks terrible to me. Gotta be a PvE change. I'm still not going to use Roozid over Luluca. And where else are you going to use them other than Expos? I'm not feeling it, guys. As much as I want the Pupper to be the best damn unit out there, I just don't see it being good. Unless the increased damage dealt and damage dealt increase and the change to Leo, unless this ramps his damage through the roof and suddenly he's a speed imprint that can also finish some units off, that can also do some crazy damage, maybe, maybe he will be good cleave support. But the speed imprint ain't that great at only 8 speed. I don't know, man. We'll have to see. Okay, artifacts. An Assassin's Pledge. So this is one of the ones that might impact our decision to put Rabino in the C tier. Increases effectiveness by 15 to 30%. Is going away because effectiveness is no longer a necessary stat since everything ignores ER. After attacking a target, I'm being facetious, but really, come on, stop making everything ignore ER. You're making Cookie cry every time he sees that. After using an attack that targets all enemies, gains 10 souls. Oh, shit. Ranger's got a Tag of Hale's Ancient Book. Not quite, but close. And has a 50 to 100% chance to inflict burn for 1 turn. Souls can only be acquired once. Okay, so it is basically Flan's artifact, right? The something unrecorded, underwhelming, unsomething. Unseen observer, right? It's just with Flan, it's a non-attack skill. You get 10 souls. With Robin, it's an attack skill, an AoE attack skill, and it's 10 souls. And it's going to inflict more burns. The ability for Robin to kind of pack some souls into her kit for whoever goes next is pretty cool. I might nudge her up for that, because soul burning is the most powerful mechanic in the game, bar none. But you know what? Let's see what changes they're bringing to burns before we. I think she's better now, definitely better than the other two, but I'm still not feeling it quite yet. Tyrant's Descent. We're just ramping up its damage. Where most people would want to use this is in Rift, where there's shit tons of debuffs already on there, but because of the multiplicative way that damage stacking works in Rift, it's almost always better just put an attack boosting artifact. Maybe this will be enough to outpace an attack boosting artifact. Maybe it'll suddenly be the best in slot for your Rift damage dealer. We'll have to see and test, but that's nice. It's okay. Why is Zeno so low in the winners? Zeno, we're waiting on a couple of things, right? First of all, if his damage, he's a defense scaler who does self-defense buff, but his self-defense buff is dependent on having rage. Is dependent on having frostbite, and his frostbite is the only thing on here that doesn't ignore ER. He starts to ignore ER once he is granted rage, but if he's not granted rage, he doesn't ignore ER. We said that he's going to friggin' be awful for Setsuka's, but you're trading Setsuka in, Setsuka's evasion. You're taking Setsuka's evasion in for a unit who may or may not do much on the team. You know what? Fine. Fuck it. If she gets the evasion and he takes it away, they can be in the same tier. I'll go ahead and hold that one to you. Literally, this is it. Is the decreases enemies evasion by 50%. I think that's the only reason he exists. It's going to, unless if his mods are really good, then I'm for it. Okay, where were we? Okay, the changes to buffs. Critical hit damage was going up by 50%, now increases to 70%. Wow. So Destro buff now goes to 70%, but it still caps. Understand that. Now instead of 300, you need 270, right? 280. 280 crit damage will cap up to 350. That, in my opinion, makes this EE on Vildred even worse. Where did it go? Because here's the thing. For this to do anything, you have to be 280 crit damage or lower. If you're higher than 280 crit damage, this just overcaps it. So you're wasting stats. But that means the initial dancing blade that you get when somebody else cleaves only has 280 crit damage backing it. He doesn't get the crit damage boost until he uses Blade Ascent, which is his S3 skill, which means he has to actively take a turn. Yeah, you can sack crit damage for speed, or you can leave crit damage alone and use the CR for speed. I guess, again, it just comes down to how you want to play them, but I was hoping they would say they were removing the cap from crit damage from buffs, not removing the cap from crit damage in general, but letting you buff above it. This is a buff, and buffs do not exceed cap. Escort. 30% damage share received to 40% damage share received. Man, they really want to sell Summer Photogenic when the summer reruns come around, don't they? Wow. And Lethe ignores this too. So yeah, this is a significant boost to Escort. I think that moves Arowell up. I'm not sure it moves her up top, but I think that makes Arowell very, very usable. That level of mitigation is kind of insane. You still got to be careful for units that ignore damage share, but a 40% damage share, you better build your Arrow with a shit ton of health, guys. Okay, bleed and burns. We're just increasing the damage of bleed and burns. How much? How much? Is it going to be like the current frenzy mode where it's plus 50%? Or is it going to be a little pull my finger 10% nudge? These are a flat figure based on the amount of attack you have, right? I think burns are 60% of your attack, and I think bleeds are 30% of your attack is how they do damage. Be interesting. A lot of this depends. If burn damage increases significantly and they leave the current warfare rules in, Robin could move up, but right now I'm leaving her here. I think she's very situational. Curse. If an ally is attacked, except for the bear is attacked by a single attack, deals additional damage. Or we're just letting Curse go AoE damage. Have you guys tried Ruiza and Melissa yet? This might make Ruiza and Melissa and then any AoE damage dealer be one of the nastiest things you could do in regular arena. Guys, they snuck in a Melissa buff. Does this count? Does this count as our 45th Melissa buff? Will this make Ruiza actually a real unit? Memory imprint balance adjustments. This balance adjustment will reorganize the decimal values for imprint concentration, imprint releases. Thank God. So, attack. Everybody's getting 3%, roughly 3% more attack, depending on their, 1 to 3% more attack, HP, and defense on those imprints. So they're just making the imprints more impactful. Nice. Crit chance, yes. No more decimals, guys. This one goes up 1. This one goes up 1.2. This one goes up 0.8. This one goes up 0.5. This one goes up 0.4. Thank God. Remember, this does not go into impact until after RTA season is over. You're going to need to re-gear your whole ass account when RTA season is over just for this change right here, I think. And effectiveness and effect res isn't changing at all because these stats don't matter anymore, it seems. And dual attack. Holy shit. 4-star imprint concentrations likewise are changing. Everything's cleaner, no more decibels. For some reason, effectiveness, oh, because effectiveness and effect res are decimaled out. All that's very nice. And flat concentrations are a little bit better, whole lot better. Meh. Okay. I'm just very, very glad that we're getting rid of decimals. Everybody hated it. There was no reason for it. All right, guys. One last peek at this. So how are we feeling? I still think Birgitta and Roozid aren't getting anything that matters. I think Kise doing more damage is nice. Maybe it'll open up Kise to more people, but it doesn't really change the way she behaves. It just makes her hit harder. Tori penetrating evasion is nice, but it looks like we got a lot more evasion answers like Lethe and Zeno. Top model Luluca I think is crazy good for CR manipulating cleavers, but she still has the issues of her non-attack skill triggering awful things. Arowell is going to be really good. I am curious to see if that extra 10% damage boost or damage transfer boost to escort's going to be enough to bring her into the meta. Rabino, she goes spam burns a lot more. But I still just, I know I'm going to take some heat from this, but I just don't see it, man. I don't see her ability to spam burns being enough to pick her over, I don't know, Carrot, Silverblade, Aramentha, all these other units that spam debuffs in addition to burns that just seem to do her job better. Maybe I'm underestimating her, but I'm not that excited about Robin. Zeno is the biggest middle finger to Setsuka that we've had in a long time. I think you guys are going to be happy to have answers to Setsuka, but also mind you that still has Zeno on your team. It reminds me a little bit when people are like, Schneel totally stops Death Dealer Ray. It's like, yes, but then you have Schneel on your team. So you basically are just fighting 3 versus 3 at this point. You've just removed 2 units from the game. Unless Zeno brings insane damage. If Zeno's damage mods are up there and he's an asset and can help support your team, fantastic answer to Setsuka. Basically all Diene is an Ahmed that isn't scared of Moon Bunny, and that's a big thing. An Ahmed that isn't scared of Moon Bunny is powerful because we all know how much of a problem Ahmed could be. So another 121 speed after 127 speed Soul Weaver after you count, and I know that's not exactly how exclusive equipment work, but just, you know, still stupid fast. Bellona looked really, really good. Bellona looked like she had a chance to be up here, and then, you know, Zeno and all these other units that penetrate evasion just came along and made me feel like she's just not going to be that good. In fact, I'm tempted to pull her down, but I'm going to have some faith in the redheads, right? Vildred looks like the best thing to happen to Cleve in forever, and Lethe, counter set Lethe is going to be wild. Also speed set Lethe so that she can cycle faster, maybe get that initial soul burn off, and you can run her with Monarch is going to be mwah. And Charlotte, I mean, other than the stupidity of her self imprint, Charlotte is, I think she's broken. I think she's the best change in here. I think anybody that's like struggling with Bossarunka is just going to Charlotte all over them. What a wild bounce patch. Almost nothing was non-impactful. Everything looked at least a little bit impactful, although Birgitta and Roozid, I'm not really sure what their changes are. Everything else looked impactful, at least, if not broken as F. And the changes to imprints are crazy, and increasing the damage of burns because who asked? All that stuff's coming our way. It's going to be an insane time. Starting the 12th, we're gonna have so many units to test and try out. It's crazy. And for those of you who don't know how to get Zeo, it's pretty heckin' easy. You just go into the shop, scroll down to the Hall of Trials shop, and he is right here at the very, very bottom. He might be at the top, I don't know. You can buy enough to imprint him and get a fully max imprinted Zeo. It is not cheap at 150 points per pop, but you can at least get one right away and then work on his imprints later. What a banger balance patch, guys. Turn 2 players who say the world is stacked against them, and right now Cleve owns everything, just got a lot of interesting tools, while at the same time Cleve got some really interesting tools to use in its place. Diene, Vildred, even Charlotte. Charlotte's one of those units that's going to be so strong that Cleave can anchor with her, and turn 2 can crush. I think right now the hardest method to play is going to be full-on tank down, weather the storm, and that's great because everybody hates that. Everybody hates the Arowell Reviver evasion meta where everything's turn 10 and it's death of 1,000 cuts, and this is a good step in the direction of getting rid of that. I like it. So mad props to the developers for coming out with a banger balance patch this time around. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care, Epic 7. Thanks for watching this video to the very end, you absolute legend. And if you want to help me out more, you can feed the algorithm by leaving me a message about this video in the comment section. The YouTube algorithm loves it when you comment, and I enjoy reading what you have to say. And if you have more to tell me, then you can reach me directly at discordwulf.com, where you will find a helpful and supportive community of thousands ready to share your adventures. And if you like this video, maybe watch another one, like the one being recommended on the screen right now. Yeah, that one. That's probably a good one. And that lets YouTube know my videos are worth watching. And for the most metal amongst you, consider supporting me directly by joining my Patreon, like these Chads. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care, Epic 7.